And we're back. Welcome to St James's Pod, home of Newcastle United content. We're here in this one to preview two games. We've got the Premier League clash away at Arsenal and the FA Cup clash down at Ewood Park against Blackburn. That could see us extend that cup run that we talked about previously. Apart from that, we've got to talk about the sporting director situation, Dan Ashworth on gardening leave, and there's a few injuries to talk about as well, coming back rather than fresh injuries, that is. So, before I give you all a heart attack, let's have a quick ad read. It's Total Supplements, and we'll be right back to the score of that. This episode of St James's Pod is brought to you by Total Supplements. Visit their website, totalsupplements.co, to discover their range of nutritionist-tested supplements, gummies, shakes, and natural extracts. Use our code stjamespod, that's stjamespod, for 25% off your entire order. The link's in the description. Support the podcast and visit totalsupplements.co now and tell them St James's Pod sent you. So lads, you were both at the game at the weekend, but let's start with the sporting director situation. Obviously, since we last spoke, he's been put on gardening leave. Dan Ashworth on gardening leave again. His gardener must be absolutely sick of it. But what do you make of the situation now? I think, obviously, man, you were saying, Alex, Sir Jim's been kicking off a bit that we're standing the ground, but I think it's a good thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Like, why should we bend over backwards for them? Like, they're basically poaching like one of the most important members of staff we have. Probably the most important when you're not including like coaching stuff and whatever. So why should we just help them out, let them go? And I know this Lingard situation's been brought up a lot. So, like, would they help us out if the shoe was on the other foot? What the fuck? Like, there's absolutely no chance. So if we can make it as awkward as possible, drag with heels as much as possible, keep that club in the absolute shite for as long as possible, and then make them pay up, basically. Like, we're not losing anything by dragging with heels. Like, he's gone. He said he wants to join Man U, so yeah, what is there to lose, like, by Newcastle just holding back? I'm glad we're doing that, and I'm glad that the owners aren't just, I don't know, they'll probably have like friends in like high places. They'll probably know Ratcliffe, like, you know how everyone in those high circles, you know, the Rubens are friends with Boris and the government. So, yeah, like, try and get 20 plus million for him, and if they don't want to pay it, keep him in the garden, and yeah, then we can search for our replacement, I guess. What do you reckon, Paige?
Yeah, I think we're well within our rights. Obviously, he's contracted. Like, there's no way in which like you could get away with it with a player unless, like, you know, you've agreed terms and everything else. Like, I don't see why a staff member should be any different in that, especially as we've talked about, the director of football role is becoming massively important now in football. So, you know, back in the day, staff probably moved clubs quite regularly without much like fanfare. Like, whereas, yeah, for something as important as this for both clubs, like, I think we're well within our rights to hold off for as long as we can, give ourselves that, like you say, that extra time to source out a replacement and, yeah, get some fair compensation for whatever reason that we can agree with Man United. Like, there's, yeah, as well, yeah, we've talked about we don't want them to just immediately be going and taking potentially sensitive key information that we've been planning for our summer transfer window and taking it away with them. Like, I don't know if there's going to be stipulations around like NDAs and things that he's not allowed to even discuss stuff once he does actually go to Man U. But
you know, he fucking will though. The fucking snaky cunt.
Well,
yeah. If there's one thing this has shown, it's that he's got no integrity. So, like, even if he signs this NDA or whatever to say that he can't bring over sensitive information, you know, he'll fucking... If we've got a good target that he really likes, It's not going to stop them from looking at them for Man U, is it?
Well, yeah, that's true. Like, and again, like there's no like players aren't like. So a director of football might identify a player, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we have every right to just be like, right, okay, that's our player because he identified it, because that's just ridiculous.
But we're Bagsy them.
We're bags, yeah, we put a Bagsy on him. Like, it's not that I can understand that, but like, yeah, it's obviously he's got so many contacts within the game.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how much it is to do with players, because I'm sure like most clubs look at the similar players and stuff. Anyway, it's probably more to do with that other information. Like, he's obviously deeply involved in the finances and any sort of dealings we'll have with Man U, or even if we go for the same player, I guess, like, he'll know how much we can spend and the way we go about contracts, so that if he wants to, he can just like overdo it and get the player himself or whatever. But when you were saying that, Alex, I don't remember him ever kind of doing anything sort of dodgy with Brighton after he left them and came to us. Like, he never really poached any of their players as far as the media told us. So I don't know if he'll be more inclined to do that because we kind of put him on the garden and even make things awkward. Whereas like with Brighton, it was quite a smooth thing. Like, the two clubs came to it quite well, didn't they?
But there was what paid them.
Well, yeah, there was a 6-month period as well where he was he was kind of not. I don't think it was a gardening leave as such, but it wasn't an immediate, like, he started sort of working towards the end of the season, like sort of summertime, and that's when like he properly kicked off. But we'd agreed everything sort of January time from what I can remember. So there was definitely similar sort of situations. Like, I think it's just the fact that we've said, like, definitively, yeah, you're in gardening leave, and that's that. Man, you obviously want to get going as quick as possible. Like, you heard Ratcliffe in his interviews saying how he's looking to close the gap to Liverpool and City as soon as possible, and like saying all the right things, obviously, to get Man U fans and that on side. And yeah, I think he just wants to get Ashworth in as ASAP. But yeah, we should be doing what we're doing. Like, if again we want to be taken seriously and respected at the top end of the table, then we can't just bend over backwards for a rival team and just say, yeah, take them and run. Like, yeah, we got to do what we're doing, and I'm glad Stavely and everyone else who's made that decision has stuck by it.
Where do you think we go from here then, in terms of, do you think we kind of look for his long-term replacement and we don't do anything until we find that? Or do you think because do you remember when we first got the takeover, they brought in a guy temporarily, didn't they? Kind of to see us through that January transfer window and stuff. And then I think the same guy went to Leeds and did a similar thing for 6 months or something. Do you think there's a chance we do that till the end of the season, just so that there's somebody in that role? Or do you think we'll just see us wait it out until we find the perfect candidate and then give it to them full time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why, if there's like a consultant who can come in and just like keep the show on the road for 5 months or whatever, 4 months of until like we need a full replacement in. Yeah, I don't see why that,
because we might have to coach somebody and put them on gardening leave if they're not out of work.
Oh, the gardener becomes the gardenee. Yes, I'm aware that makes 0 sense, but sounded good in my head.
Might as well be getting Alan Titchmarsh in at this point. Like, yeah,
the poach becomes the poacher.
Yeah, we need to not skip a beat, and we got to keep like whatever plans we had, because obviously we didn't really do much in the January window. We know we've got issues squad wise, and obviously we've got lots of growth still off the pitch as well that needs to continue. So we can't afford to skip a beat by just having Ashworth like twiddling his thumbs and not doing anything for us in the next few months. Like, so yeah, I'd like to see, or even just me. I don't know if like any of the current staff could step up, like, and fulfill any of like the duties that Ashworth was doing in the meantime. I don't know what you guys think on that one.
See, like, he's clearly brought in all these other members of staff, so I don't think we've got a real urgency to get someone in right now. Like, say the scouting department, like, he's overhauled that. He's got like regional scouts in from City. He's got other guys in from like other big clubs. So the scouting network's already there, along with sort of Cora and people, or Nixon, who's been here before. So they're going to be still working on their scouting duties. I don't think Ashworth himself particularly, like, he's not a scout. Like, he might help with sort of deals and sort of contracts and stuff like that. But him not being here isn't going to like halt our plans for the summer. I think we're going to keep on going in the same sort of trajectory as we are, and we'll bring in the next person when we find them, which you can guarantee that hunt has already started. So I've got no doubt we'll have someone in by the summer. So I'm pretty relaxed about the situation myself. Like,
are you concerned though that Ashworth might try and poach more staff and take them to United? Like, do you think he would do like that with certainly ones he's brought in personally since he arrived? I don't know if like Man United would be not willing to do it because the amount of added extra compensation, but yeah, I just wondered that would we see a bit of a snowfall landslide effect, like of other staff maybe going with him.
So, like, I'm sure I read an article that 250 jobs were at risk with Ratcliffe and Ashworth and everyone coming in, but you don't know how much of that is just like sensationalized for clicks, because say there's 250 like members of staff working behind the scenes, and like, and we know I think they've got the biggest scouting department in the world or something like that. I'm sure I've heard that before. I think it might just be the fact that everyone's job is on the line. They're going to be bringing new people in probably every department they've got. So yeah, there will be a lot of ins and outs. Will they pinch our staff? Once again, if they want to, they're going to have to buy out the contracts, which a lot of them are on fairly new deals because we've just got them in. If they want to pay them off, then they pay them off and we'll get someone else in, no doubt. So it's another one of those things that it probably will happen. Like, we're always going to lose staff. You even seen City lose multiple members of staff in the last year. It's just one of those things in football. Like, as long as we know the owners are willing to put the money in and the time in and get the right people in place. Like Darren Eales, like, I've got full faith that touch wood, that he's not going to be jumping ship, and he's quite important. Got a guy there helping to build the Newcastle United brand and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Once again, yeah, I'm pretty relaxed on the whole situation. Like,
as long as we don't have next week's episode, Darren Eales to Man
United. You can fuck right off.
You'll be
already got the CEO from City.
Nah, I do.
Till Stack opens up, he wants to be in there fucking smashing the pints with the lads, doesn't he? So,
oh, he does.
Yeah. Absolute boy at Darren Eales. All right, so yeah, like I said before, you were both at the Bournemouth game, so talking about pints, you were both there together, weren't you, before the game in the Garter?
Maybe.
I made an after game appearance at the Garter. I'm not quite at the before and after stage, but yeah.
Let me ask you this then: was it a drowning of the sorrows, or how did you feel about the result?
It's such a indifferent feeling, because obviously getting a last minute goal is obviously great obviously being a last minute equaliser rather than a winner, and over the course of the game, maybe we probably did only deserve a point in some respects to Bournemouth. So
not even a point in my eyes.
I mean, we were poor, like, and obviously for Matt Ritchie to pop up, and I know we've had our fair few words to say about Mr. Ritchie on this podcast, but
well, it was only last week we were discussing his contract on it. But
I know, and I think
I mean,
Pete called it. He's staying 10 more years. It's official.
Give him the keys. So my feelings were very much like, we've obviously dug a point out of a really dire situation, but again, same old issues that keep cropping up. Was the main takeaway from it, I think.
Well, at least like Richie didn't over celebrate his goal against his former club, like he's fucking wiping out the corner flag and making one of the poor ball girls go and put it back in.
I've seen
by
that,
himself as well.
The ref like pointed at him saying, "Oh, like go and put it back in," like, and Richie was just like, "Fuck up! I'm getting back in my own half to get the game kicked off." So then the ball girl had to go and put the flag back in. She looked confused as out.
Did a good job.
Done a job.
Yeah.
Considering the flag was like hanging off the flagpole, like. But, in general, you're saying like might have deserved a point. I think Bournemouth deserved all three. Like, I think we're better than us in every department, and we got lucky. It could have been down a couple in that first half if it wasn't for both Solanke hitting a few at Dubravka and Dubravka making the saves, whatever you want to call it. Like, we should have been losing at half time. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, it was a bad first half. Yeah,
I know we've got problems with personnel. That striker position is. I know we've talked about recruitment. It's criminal that we haven't got anyone in for that striker position. Like, obviously Wilson's out for potentially the rest of the season. If he might come back in May or whatever. If not, Isak, we know, has had his injury problems. Like, we looked lost. Like, Eddie Howe obviously tried going up front to begin with. He's clearly better out on the left. He's tried Harvey Barnes through the middle, who looked fucking lost.
Yeah.
And then he tried Murphy through the middle, who also looked fucking lost.
Yeah.
Like, it's a serious problem. And like, even like that first half going forward, we just didn't have any ideas. We didn't know what to do. We had a lot of the ball, and once we got in the final third, it's like no players really knew where to go. Like, Gordon was pulling out wide, like overlapping Harvey Barnes and that. Like, it was just a bit of a fucking mess, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, I know we'll get into the referee a little bit more. I don't think he really helped matters, especially in the first half. Like that, I think everybody was given the ref pelters as he came off at half time. It was just a really poor display generally from the ref. But yeah, first half we were just completely not at it, and completely agree that Bournemouth should have been ahead at least by one. Dubravka. Yeah, I'll give Dubravka the credit for the saves. I know Solanke is saying on form, you'd have expected him maybe to...
He should be finding the net, let's be honest.
Yeah, and I think definitely the one which, like, he's just less than 6 yards out and he's put it, like, right at Dubravka. I mean, Dubravka makes himself big, like, and does everything that you expect a keeper to do in that sort of very point-blank range. But, yeah, I get what you mean, yeah, as well. Solanke could and should be doing better, but Dubravka kept us in it. But yeah, even like the start of the second half was just again, you're right. There was no, like, we just didn't seem to have that focal point, like, up top. Midfield, was getting like bypassed again. Like I think Longstaff had a pretty poor game by his standards. Like Miley was good, like again, but I think you were expecting a lot of him again to try and do his part in the midfield. Bruno was sort of in and out in patches for me, but yeah, it just seemed like we were just getting bypassed through that midfield all too often, which obviously led to more so the second goal. But yeah, the first goal, I mean, thing was like the weather was like it hadn't been raining in the first half, and then it started raining in the second half, and immediately I started noticing players were slipping about everywhere, and I'm like,
quite a few
slipping
and I was like,
man.
why? Right, okay, then if that's the case, and we were taking massive risks, like passing it across the box like we were, and then inevitably, like somebody's going to slip and make a mistake, and then it had to be bloody Dubravka. And I felt sorry because obviously the fans immediately like, wow, fucking hell, like this and that, like at Dubravka, but not forgetting that he had just saved a couple of like.
To be fair to the crowd, like they started singing his name after that went in. Like it like obviously, like yeah, there was a big sigh, whatever. But
maybe
I know, especially from the corner, Martin Dubravka chant to come straight out to try and like pick him up a little bit because you can't blame anyone for that. Like as you said, it started pissing down that second half, like from absolutely nowhere. Half of them clearly still had the wrong boots on, and he wasn't the only one. It's just unlucky that it happened.
Did the water the pitch off though?
It was pissing down.
It was already raining.
They usually do.
It was, yeah. I was going to say
that's what I mean though. If it was pissing it down, should they have been watering it? Like,
I can't remember whether actually were or weren't this time. I know
was
the usual to do.
Pre-match, I've definitely seen pre-match it was watered because like it was quite slick at the start and like in the first half, and but obviously got even slicker at the start of the second with the rain coming down, and it was like some players clearly, like you say, either just hadn't put the right boots on or just weren't expecting having had like a
Shea got a yellow card later in the game as well, didn't he, for slipping? It's like quite an arcade moment. He slipped and then he had to bring his player down because
he's took him down, didn't he? Yeah.
So it was quite bad actually. Like, but yeah, like you say, not really. You can't really blame. Can you blame Dubravka for the second one?
For the second,
I think you could do better, but
because I think you can definitely do better. I think you should save it for me.
I think Pope saves it. To be fair,
it's a good finish. I thought, like
it is
right, like angled, like low, like right into the corner,
it's
or not right into the corner. But
he's also being told, like try your best shot. Like here's a couple of yards for you to take it. Do whatever you fucking fancy, mate.
He had again, and I know we don't want to necessarily just slating the same players week in week out.
I disagree. I do want to fucking slate them. Get out the team.
But I know Eddie said in the post match like he's not about like looking for scapegoats and like and that he thought that there was multiple things that were also wrong prior to it getting to the point of where Semenyo was out on that side of the pitch. Like he said there was, and that's what I mean by the midfield just got bypassed far too easily, and then it's like 1-2, and then like ball played diagonally, and that just wiped out like a whole midfield, and the defense were just all kind of like just static, like and shifted far too
between
right.
The midfield and the defense hasn't really been solved since Pope got injured.
No,
I mean, I know we don't have personnel to change it in midfield, but the pace of the midfield plus the pace of the defence plus the Dubravka not coming off his line.
Botman did get caught out as well with his pace as well. Yeah. Like he's not really
back to his best, is he? Since his injury.
No, I don't know if he's lost a yard or if he ever had it and we just never had to like notice it before because he was being covered by other parts of the midfield like Joe Linton and players
the players either side of him are like getting towards like 32 each, Shaw and Byrne, like that kind of fucking help. Like
Yeah, and
I
we
think
know.
we used to play a higher line, and then
Yeah.
Pope would sweep. So I think now just the fact that we're not doing that, it's highlighting the lack of pace in the defence, isn't it? So,
It's a
but
big,
then, as you
big
say,
problem.
like basically, is that why Tino should be in, because he's the only, or even Lewis Hall, they've both got pace.
Anyone, it's fucking anyone. Like fresh legs, like fast legs. Yeah, I'd play either. Obviously, the fans are clamouring for Tino because every time he comes on, he looks really fucking solid.
He did, yeah.
He looks good going forward. He looks good one-on-ones defending. He's fast, so he can recover and go up against any of the faster players in the league. So it's Lewis and Lewis Hall, like, he's not had enough game time to even see like what he's about. Like, he's had a few cup games where he's actually played decent, scored against Man U. I'm like sick of going over it, but like Dan Burn, like, I think I'm keep counting them. It's like 5 goals in 4 games now, which have been like specifically the ball being like put behind him and someone running onto it, or someone squaring him up and him giving them like far too much time to shoot.
Yeah, even not just that goal. I noticed, like, I think it was in the first half because it was right down my side, like, and
it was Semenyo again. He gave him far too much space, and he flips it across.
Proper, like, but he's you just know that when he overcommits, like when he's like thinks, oh, I'm gonna get there like before the other player, or like the pass from one of our players is poor, gets intercept, whatever, and when he's like over committing to like going forward, and then for like you just see him, like his body just cannot physically stop and turn and and be sharp enough to like be
there's
right
showing
back
someone
on
down
it.
the line, and then there's like giving them the amount of space that like he's been giving them to do whatever the fuck they want. Like, like yeah, like I just don't get it. Like, yes, you meant to show them down the line, don't let them cut inside, but there's a fucking way of doing it. Like, and he's just so far off it where he's 6'7", longest legs in the league, but he kind of block across coming in because he's still nowhere like even close.
I know, and I feel sorry for him because I think in some respects,
well.
Eddie Howe, like, you could argue he's hanging him out to dry at this point because the fans are making Burn the scapegoat, and then Eddie Howe's just like, all right, I don't deal in scapegoats, but you what, like, the fans are like they're gonna keep on at him, like, and if in the Arsenal game Saka or somebody does him and we concede again, I mean, how, like, it becomes a point where it's like that, you know, how many times do you have to
people will start
keep
questioning Eddie Howe and like tactically, like what he's like. People will start asking questions if, like, fucking Einstein, like, if you make the same mistake over and over again and expect different results, like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, fuck me. I mean, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but like you mentioned about being a scapegoat. Is it a scapegoat if like they're actually the problem, or is it just them being a problem? Like, scapegoats when you like someone gets the blame when it might not necessarily be the problem when you're looking for someone to blame.
Yeah,
generally,
I think
he obviously Pope is a fucking big miss. We've Dubravka conceded the most amount of goals per game since he come in. Pope conceded the fewest amount of goals per game when he played this season.
Yeah,
it's obviously a big problem. Losing players in midfield like Joe Linton is a big problem, but you can't deny that Burn is a massive problem at the moment, and it needs to change. Otherwise, we're going to keep conceding this ridiculous amount of goals that we're conceding. And is that going to get any better against Arsenal? They're scoring 5 or 6 a game at the moment anyways. Like, I am fearing for that game, like, and I'm fearing for Dan Burn. Because as you're saying, if it goes badly, like, I think we're at the point where the fans might start turning, like, and it could start getting a bit ugly. Like, I wouldn't want that to happen. Like,
no, of course, because that's it. And like, Eddie Howe will be quick to be like, "Oh, the fans forget what we did last season and forget how great he was and all this sort of stuff." But like, I can just envisage it like just snowballing like that, and then we get like it becomes a battle between the fans of the ones who want to stand by Burn, the ones who don't want to stand by him, the ones who want to give Eddie Howe his like dues, and ones who like want to throw criticism at him. Like it's getting to that point because it's just narrow-mindedness. I feel like, especially when there's available players that can be put in that position, and from the start, and just give Burn, like, take him out of the limelight a little bit, bring him back in. Yeah, after a few games, like especially if things don't get much better, then it can be like, right, okay, well, it's not Dan Burn's fault, like, but right now, because we keep on playing him and we keep seeing those goals going in the same fashion, it's hard not to be like, right, that he is he's a problem, or he's not getting the right support because the tactics aren't right for him and the team. So yeah,
I think you could look at it as like, not, you could say like it's not that he's the problem, it's that putting somebody else in his position could be the solution.
Yeah,
it's like we haven't tried it yet, so logically it's the next thing to try. But do you think there's a chance that he actually goes for 5 at the back against Arsenal, and we see Tino come in like we have towards the end of games? Because like you say, they're scoring for fun at the minute, so
you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing that, because when we have switched to 5 at the back, yeah, sometimes it's when we're being holding on for a lead later on, and we're putting an extra man in there, and yeah, giving Burn a little bit of help coming inside where he's a bit more natural. But like, it's not only that, it gives him more. I don't know how like the fucking maths works out, but it seems to give him more options playing out when we're under pressure. Even though we've got one less man in midfield to pass it to, which I don't know. It's just when I've watched her on the field, it just gives with that extra man to pass it out to and get out without just fucking losing the ball, which we've had no control of games over, let's be honest. And I'm talking about the Bournemouths, the Lutons. Like, these are games where we should be dominating the game, and we've had no control over them and no control over the midfield. So I think it's not a bad idea. So I hadn't even thought of it, but yeah, I wouldn't mind it at all. And it's been proven that Tino can do a job, whether that's left back, whether that's left wing back, and then we've got Lascelles, who I'd be happy playing in a back three as well. So yeah, it's not a bad shout at all.
We haven't really got. Well, I suppose there's rumours Isak's going to be back, but you wouldn't expect them to either start or play 90 minutes. So
no.
We're going to have, at some point in the game, the same issue of Gordon up front or Murphy up front or whatever. So,
hey, good four-legged friend there.
There's also rumours Joe Willock could be back in the squad for the game against Arsenal. So, again, I doubt he'll start, but giving us that option of somebody with pace in the midfield, someone that's more forward thinking, that would be really good as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think we're seeing the midfield three at the minute. Miley is doing. I've got so much like praise for Miley. I think he's just doing an outstanding job in difficult circumstances. Like, he's still trying to learn the game, and I think, yeah, in the games he's played recently, we've had no control of the midfield, like we've said. But you can still see he's putting his all in. He's trying and doing the best he can. So yeah, to give him a chance to maybe be rotated out with Willock coming back would be good, or even just like, yeah, because I think Longstaff's had a not the best game. I think against Bournemouth, personally, I thought he was one of the weaker players in the midfield. So again, he's one that might need to just have some time out of the side. But then, if it's a hard one to juggle, really, because Willock, we know his strengths are definitely attacking, but we need to have players back in the midfield who are gonna, do the hard yards and try and get on the ball and control the midfield. So yeah, it's a hard one to see, like how we mix it up with including Willock in there. Like, what do you think is the best out of the available fit centre midfielders once Willock's back? What do you guys think is the best combination of the three?
I mean, to involve Tonali in this conversation, I guess he's coming back at some point.
Oh, in the short term.
In the short term,
yeah,
because obviously Joe Linton's not back for the season, and so as you say, and I agree that Longstaff has been the weak link out of the three midfielders, which is mad considering Miley's age. I thought he was our best player on Saturday. I'm sure he made about 6 tackles or something like that. Like, he was getting stuck and winning them. And you can see improvement as well. Like, not only is he like class, you can see him improving and getting a bit more confident as well on the ball, where he's not looking for that safe pass. Like, he made a ridiculous ball in behind Adam Smith for, I think it was Barnes who was on the left wing at that point.
Yeah.
He's like, actually said when he went to play the ball, it was like in between the centre half and the right back. I was like, fucking hell, man. Like, I thought he'd fucked it. I thought he'd just give it straight back to them, but it was like perfect. It was just out of reach of the fullback, so got in behind them. And I like to see more of that from him because you can tell he's got quality. He just needs a bit more confidence, I think. Maybe a bit more, like, I don't know, arrogance, do you call it? Because you can tell he's a bit like a humble guy. He's quite quiet. He's not trying anything too fancy. He's not trying anything too dangerous. I think he's playing it a bit safe, which, again, you can't knock him. Like, he's trying to protect the ball. He's trying to take care of the ball. But, yeah, I think, like, obviously, Longstaff plays on that right of the midfield three. I think Miley would probably move over to that side. He's right-footed. I know Willock is as well, but we've seen him playing in that left midfield role a bit more, and he likes to overlap the left winger, whether that's probably Barnes at the moment. I think that could work all right, but he just helps him get up the pitch as well. Like you've told about his like running with the ball at his feet. Like, yeah, he might not be one. Like, to be fair, he's probably better at the defensive duties than like people might give him credit for, because he's got that energy. Like, he'll run around, he will make tackles, he will get amongst it, but it's that driving the ball upfield. It just helps take so much pressure off everyone when we can get on that break and you can skip past one man and like push the whole team forward.
Yeah.
So I think at the moment, yeah, he would come in for Longstaff and probably on the left of the three with Miley probably switching out to the right. But again, how does that work with obviously Bruno's more advanced role? I guess like he's been playing a bit further forward, which again I think has helped his game because we're not relying on him running back with fucking lead boots on for starters, and we've got the two Geordies back in to sort of sit and make the tackles.
It's that for me, like you've said, they've made valid points, but I think the ultimate thing is that we're still a kind of the balance is like to attacking, like for me, and there's like still that kind of need for somebody with like a defensive mindset to be in that midfield. And I suppose Longstaff is probably the most defensive minded out of those options, but I think even he'll admit that he's like he did seem to just let like the play just go through him. He was like a sieve, like it was just like everything was going through him. So yeah, I just think we need to. Yeah, it's obviously highlighting again another like we've highlighted Pope being a big miss, like the Joe Linton situation. Like, imagine if we had a Joe Linton, Joe Willock combo like that. We love to see.
Don't do this to us.
But that's when like
I don't want to cry on camera.
That's when it works so well, because like you had that balance of like Big Joe sort of sitting like being the defensive like enforcer,
being
and
fucking everything, defensive, attacking, fucking handsome a lot.
And then Willock obviously had more freedom to like go about doing his thing down that left side. So it's great to have another player coming back. It's just how we're gonna integrate and use them to the best. Like, and even if it's not in the midfield, and that we actually use him more as like the left-sided forward as we have in the past, and somehow mix it up a little bit up that end of the pitch.
Talking
There's
about
rumours
integrating.
as well. Sorry, mate. There's rumours as well that Anderson could be coming back, but that might be more towards the Blackburn game. But again, with that, I guess similar to Willock, that left side of the centre mids, that would give us options there, and then Miley and Longstaff would be rotation for that right side. And we've still got that suspension looming over us for Bruno as well, so
He's walking a
could be good
tightrope.
timing. Oh, he's done really well though, hasn't he? Like,
It's 4 or
to be
5
fair,
games
but-
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No, he
do you think
has.
this Arsenal game could be the one? Because he's going to be really
He's got history.
tested,
Obviously, that was the Kai Havertz game earlier in the year where it was a horrible tackle on Longstaff, and you won't forget. You'll remember this. And to be fair, Arsenal players will definitely remember it, and they'll be wanting payback. They'll be wanting revenge. And I think it was Jorginho who he smashed on the back of the head as well.
Yeah.
They'll be trying to get him wound up. So I would not be surprised if he picked up that 10th booking in this game. But I forgot to mention Joe White as well. Made his league debut, and I thought he looked quite tidy in his limited minutes. Obviously, a left-footed central midfielder. So there is potentially another option. Obviously, we didn't see that much of him, but I thought, considering he was coming into a game where we needed to make something out, and he looked tidy enough.
He did. I don't know why we haven't seen more of him, in other games where we've just where it was just right towards the end of the game, just might as well throw him on. But I thought, like you say, yeah, he did do well. He moved the ball quite nicely, fresh legs, and yeah, for a player who's been playing League Two football for most of the season to then be thrown in for his Premier League debut, I don't think he looked too out of kilter really. So I expect he'll be making the bench again, or he might. Well, if Willock might edge him out, I'm not sure. On the other players coming back from injury, if that might force him to drop out of the bench, but yeah, I was quite happy to see him come on.
Another player that went down with an injury in the Bournemouth game was Shea towards the end. Or it might be not actually after the final whistle. He seemed to.
Water is wet.
Well,
Having Shea being in, I mean, yeah, he did take a bit of a clattering, another sort of head injury, I think, earlier in the game as well. I remember him going. Well, yeah.
There was rumours of a broken arm though when he left the stadium, but
broken arm. Well, I would have expected to hear something by now if there was such a break like that, but yeah.
I seen on Twitter somebody saying he was playing golf.
Probably hasn't got broken arm
then. Whether or not that was obviously true, I don't know, but yeah, there's obviously not been any news on that. But if he's out, are you pretty? I mean, I know it's Arsenal. Are you pretty much happy enough that Lascelles just comes straight in?
Yeah. Not really.
Pretty much else.
Not much else is there. So yeah, I think.
Well, I suppose Crafty's there as well, but
Crafty's there, but I think
you'd expect Lascelles to come in, wouldn't you?
You wouldn't think Kraft gets in ahead of Lascelles unless we're that desperate, or if he was injured. So yeah, I mean, we've seen last season Lascelles did a pretty good job with them getting away from home against Man City in the big game. He's obviously capable of stepping in for big games.
He's up
as well.
this season for me, in Champions League and everything. So
I mean,
great might be a stretch, but
this is such a weird game because obviously we know what Arsenal are looking to be doing. They're very much in the title race. We're wanting to still put ourselves in the race for a 7th place finish at this point for Conference League. Might even end up being a Europa League spot. I was reading the way that the coefficient might work out, that an extra place, 5th place, might get the Champions League. And I think we're probably favourites in that respect, because I think the Germany had jumped above us in the coefficient ranks, but looking at their games and the remainder of across all the European competitions, it's most likely that the English clubs will go further and get more coefficient points. So that 5th spot becomes a Champions League, and then it's a bit of a domino effect from there. So it might even be that even as low as 8th might get into Europe, like, somehow. And I know, like, the way that Man U have kind of pulled away a little bit into 6th place. Brighton obviously jumped back above us, like, into 7th. So West Ham have fallen away a bit, but yeah, there's still hope there that we can get into a European spot towards the end of the season. So this game against Arsenal is going to, like, we've got two, like, we want to derail their title hopes for sure, and it would be nice to get a double against them. We don't often get the double against Arsenal in the season. And then,
Chelsea hadn't scored past them at their place since 2014.
That's
10
minging.
years.
That's minging. In fact, 2014. I was thinking before. I remember, I think the last time we won there was maybe 2010. Andy Carroll scored the winner.
Oh, well, I'm making that up then.
No, I think...
Well, not 2010s before 2014, so...
Yeah, exactly. So you might be right.
Fucking hell, I'm old. I thought that was only 10 years ago.
Yeah, I remember that win there at their place. But yeah, we don't often do well there, so it'd be nice to get a double and at the same time derail their title hopes and put ourselves back in some kind of race for that, whatever European competition it might be.
You were just saying there about West Ham, they're only a point behind us, and then I think Chelsea are 2 points behind. So we do need
and
to
Wolves
start
as well. Wolves have crept up as well. There's team like there's creepy Wolves, like they're they could go from being like like bottom half to very quickly.
Before, you know.
Yep.
But to be honest, though,
we've won one game at the Emirates since it opened in 2006. Drawn 2, lost 15. So it's pretty grim viewing, to say the least.
Yeah.
Not on that note.
Predictions.
December 2014 was the last time we scored there.
That's
how are they doing in the Champions League tonight?
We did lose.
What's the latest?
That's 0-0 currently.
Yeah.
Have the main
Jose Perez in our 4-1 loss was the last goal we had.
You're not good reading that all.
No.
Yeah, no, just on what they're doing tonight. Yeah, they've fielded quite a strong team. It's probably the strongest that they could possibly field. Looking at the bench as well, I don't think there's anybody on there that would necessarily replace any of the ones who started. So that might be a factor. I mean, it's obviously only the first leg of this Champions League round of 16 games, so it's not like they're going to have to go absolutely hell for leather. But they've
are they home or away?
They're away, so I mean, it's only Porto. So
it should benefit in some kind of way, though. Like 90 minutes away in Portugal, then 3 days rest. Like they'll not be travelling back tonight. Like they'll probably have some recovery training, but they won't properly train before the game. Hopefully, we can capitalise on some tired legs.
I know, yeah. It's an 8:00 kickoff on the Saturday, so like
fucking bastards.
Yeah, they've managed to not. I mean, I wish we'd just got them to be a 12:45 game on the Saturday. That would have been even better. But
no, they're reserved for Jurgen Klopp, those games.
Oh yeah. Only the best for
We are
Jurgen.
clutching at straws here, though, mind.
We are very much.
Oh yeah.
We are.
So, do you want to look at predictions then? And then we'll get into the Blackburn game.
Oh, we're gonna get fucking battered.
How many
Honestly,
do you want? Yeah.
Fucking 3-0 Arsenal. That's literally how confident I am. If Isak's not back, 3-0. If Isak's back, 3-1.
Man, hearing that stat there that you've said that we haven't scored since 2014 and that we've only won once in however many years that was, like, I'm definitely not expecting any goals from the Toon. So yeah, I'm gonna probably say
you could say would you?
maybe. No. I'm gonna say 2-0. 2-0 Arsenal.
Right.
Aye.
Well, I think we'll go 5 at the back. We'll see Almiron drop out. We'll see Murphy come in. Isak will come off the bench, score a late winner, and we'll win 1-0.
Oh my god. Talk dirty to me.
Love it.
Outrageous scenes. All right, let's talk Blackburn then. So you were talking about Europe. Obviously, the other way into Europe's through the FA Cup.
I thought you were saying
necessarily...
like, Blackburn's been like in Europe.
The gateway of Europe is Blackburn.
That tropical climate they've got down there.
No, but we don't necessarily have to win the FA Cup either, do we? If the team who wins it is in the Champions League
final, yeah.
So I think but
and
just
there's
back
a few
to
still in there, isn't there?
No, definitely, like
City,
Liverpool, Man U, I guess.
Man U, yeah, like there's big teams in amongst it, but yeah, back just quickly to obviously there's a EFL Cup final happening this weekend, and ideally we don't want Chelsea winning that, just because then that would take away a European spot. Thinking that Chelsea would maybe finish below where the European spots are in the league. Obviously, there's every chance that they do finish in the European spot, which then that would go back to the league. But yeah, I think as much as I hate to say it, I mean I don't want either side to win it, but Liverpool winning it would then just make guaranteed that the extra Conference League spot that the winner gets for the EFL Cup would be in the league. So at least then we know the outcome of that. But yeah, you're right. The FA Cup, again, if that's won by one of those teams other than us, then yeah, that goes back to the league. So yeah, I think there's definitely a maximum 2 Europa League and 1 Conference League spot available. So yeah.
Well, aside from that, obviously, you know, there's a chance to win a cup, yeah, and we've got to get past Blackburn first. So
totally.
And then also, are there semi-finals at Wembley for FA Cup?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it could be get past Blackburn. One more game?
Yeah,
and then
that's the quarter-final if we get through the next round.
Yeah,
so we'll get a nice home tie to Maidstone or someone.
Oh,
aye.
Scenes.
To be honest, though, I was having a look at who's left in, and a home tie to anyone but City, I'd probably be pretty confident going in.
City, maybe Liverpool, yeah. It honestly depends what kind of form we're in by then, because, like, obviously, earlier in the season against Liverpool, yeah, they got Van Dijk sent off, but we controlled that game before we fucked it up.
Yeah. I think,
yeah, who we've got back fit and stuff like that. But
aye.
Do you know much about Blackburn this season?
Well, they just sacked. They didn't sack him, I don't think. But Thomason left. Like, I think it was a mutual consent thing because they just messed up like the whole plans with like the in last season they looked like they were on the cusp of like the playoffs and then fell away badly, and then this season they've started pretty bad. Messed up the transfer windows. Like I think they had a horrendous one on deadline day, which I think led to Thomason leaving. The player was due to like come over from Orlando, and yeah, he was like done deal. Just needed to get the paperwork in and everything, and the club have completely like fucked it up. And he's yeah. They even tried to appeal and they couldn't get him in. I think he was a striker, and I think that was like the straw that broke the camel's back for Thomason, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm done," kind of thing. I mean, they quickly moved to bring in the new guy,
John Eustace.
John Eustace, who, to be fair, he had Cardiff not Cardiff, sorry, Birmingham, sitting quite nicely at the start of the season.
One of the harshest sackings you ever seen, that one.
Aye. I did read, actually, just going a little bit off point, that because Rooney was just being interviewed about how bad his spell was following Eustace, and he was trying to throw Eustace under the bus by saying he thought that it was a false position that that Birmingham were in at the point that he came in, just like to take over. And I was just like, I mean, it's ballsy enough to say that, like, nobody wanted you, like, and then you're trying to now say that they were falsely where they were, and then you sent them way down towards the relegation. You sent them way down to the relegation zone, like, in a horrendous dive. But anyway, that's that aside. But yeah, Eustace, he was doing pretty good things there at Birmingham, and he's got a big task on his hands to try and get Blackburn back to like challenging again for promotion. Such a like weird team in that sense, Blackburn, that they're
a massive club, Blackburn. Like
they are massive, like, yeah, and they probably need to be in the mix. Like, there's loads of clubs that you could make a case for in the Championship that could be in the mix for promotion, but yeah, it's just crazy that Blackburn keep on just suffering and like finding themselves in outside the mix. But yeah, I mean, he's their recent form hasn't been great. Haven't won one in the last 3 games. I think, yeah, going back 4 games since they last won. So we've got Norwich at the weekend, who were, right up there in the facing trying to get into the playoff spots. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see like how Blackburn fare in that game against Norwich to really judge like sort of what we're coming into for the game on Tuesday.
Yeah, let's pile on the misery. Like, like, let's be honest. Like, we should have the quality to get past them. Like, there's a massive travelling support. I'm sure there's 7,500. That's what the stand that Wrexham had in the last round. I think we've got the same stand. So the fans, me and Pete, will all be in full support. So I'm very much looking forward to that one. Yeah, we should see this as a massive opportunity. Quarterfinal of the cup. Like, once again, this season, I'm not saying like it's over by like a league standpoint, but we can afford to go as strong as we can in the FA Cup, can't we? So, like, it's just one of those where there's like zero threat of relegation again. So you can just give the Cups fucking everything. Like, any Newcastle fan would rather we win this FA Cup than getting any European spot, including Champions League. So, like, give it fucking everything, and yeah, 3 games away from another final, like 2 games away from another Wembley trip, and we've got a Championship side in the quarterfinal with a few of the big teams already out. Like, we really need to, like, yeah, as I said, capitalise on Blackburn's poor form, and hopefully the quality will show through.
it's funny, like when you're saying about it there. People say Bruno's probably going to look to leave because we're not going to get Champions League and stuff like that. And then saying like we definitely need to get a European spot. But can you imagine if we won the FA Cup? Like
getting shivers. I would like getting shivers on my arms.
There's no way after the scenes of that, like Bruno would go anywhere. Like you'd just be like, oh my god, this is the.
Imagine how buzzing you would be, man, on the open top bus.
Yeah. And then obviously you do get Europe anyway. So.
Aye.
Yeah. I think this is like totally where like my season is now. Like I know the league, to be honest, we've got some like in terms of the running, we've got some winnable games towards the end of the season. Or like for the rest of the season once we get past Arsenal.
We've got the best running of any team after the next like couple of games.
Yeah. We have
but
to
that aside, this is really where my mind's at. So not knowing a lot about Blackburn. Obviously we were saying before should have Isak back, we should have Willock back. Elliot Anderson should be at least in the squad by then. I'll just touch wood, we don't get any fresh injuries, but yeah, I mean, do you want to go into...
to ask?
Yeah.
Not getting another injury.
Yeah, no, I think in terms of like recent history against Blackburn in games, like we've won in an EFL Cup game against them in the second round. Like we've had to go through a third round replay in the FA Cup in 2019, but we won at Ewood Park that day 4-2 in the replay. And then it's going back to the Championship promotion season that we then played and lost twice. I can't believe we lost twice. That's to Blackburn in that.
Didn't matter promotion. In the end, though, did it?
It didn't matter, but So I know Ewood Park's been in the past, like it's going back decades, but we've Morton Gamps Pedersen era Blackburn, but like we were we did struggle a bit at times going there, but yeah, different era, different Blackburn, and I think it's Eddie's just got to make sure everybody's mind is set in the right way, and like we went all the way. 100%. Yeah, we've went all the way to Wembley last season in the EFL Cup. Like, why not do it in the FA Cup? Back to back Wembley trips, like
back to back Wembley trips if we get to the final.
Well, yeah, that as well.
See, like I know, like I mentioned, like oh fuck's sake, like Wembley for semi-final, it's a bit fucking shite. If we get there, I'll be fucking buzzing. So
yeah. The good thing about that as well is like it gets the Wembley sort of nerves out the way as well before the final.
Sure, yeah.
For the players, I mean, not for us.
Aye, but it could help the players get the monkey off the back a little bit if we're like putting a good performance. Like we've got like 40,000 fans down there watching the semi. Yeah, it's not a bad show actually. What are you laughing at?
Just watching a semi got me giggling. Right, let's have some predictions for the Al Shearer derby then. I've gone 3-1 Toon.
I'm gonna say 3-0.
I'll go 2-0.
3-0 Toon.
2-0 to the Geordie boys. A clean sheet there. Both years.
I mean, if we're letting
teams
man. I was literally about to say if we're letting the Championship team score against us, then that's a travesty.
I've just claimed we're keeping a clean sheet against Arsenal. To be fair, like.
Sunderland didn't look like scoring, and they're higher than Blackburn in the league. That means Blackburn are shite. Not that I'm jinxing it.
Good look at it. Like
but they are.
Point. That's a fair point. Fair point.
Well, I like the confidence. And talking about Wembley's got me fucking excited now, so...
Semi.
You might be looking at a semi.
Yes, semi. Well.
Right, on that note, we'll wrap it up. And not be saying.
Wrap it up.
Oh man.
Thanks for watching, guys. Follow the podcast. Leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify. Hit the notification bell and subscribe on YouTube. And we'll catch you in the next one.